Welcome to Royal Secret. Tensions are rising behind the palace walls. An unspoken war is unfolding in one of Europe's oldest monarchies, and now, Denmark finds itself at a crossroads. Cameras may show smiling royals and carefully curated photo ops, but deep within the heart of Copenhagen, beneath the polished surface of pomp and tradition, something dramatic is happening. A family feud is simmering, not just over titles or tiaras, but identity, legacy, and power. And at the center of it all, Prince Joachim of Denmark. Once a quiet force in the shadow of his older brother, King Frederik X, Joachim is now doing the unthinkable, pressuring the king, not privately, but publicly, demanding the full restoration of prince titles for his sons, Count Nikolai and Count Felix. The stakes couldn't be higher. If King Frederik wants his younger brother and nephews to return to Denmark and reunite under the Danish flag, then, Prince Joachim says, he must reverse what many have called the most humiliating royal decision in modern Danish history. The Danish monarchy is entering uncharted waters. And as this unfolding drama sends shockwaves across Europe, royal watchers, loyal citizens, and constitutional experts are all asking the same question. Will King Frederik cave under pressure? Or will this become the scandal that permanently divides Denmark's royal family? Strap in, because this is not just a story about royal titles. It's about betrayal, family, tradition, and a possible royal comeback that could change everything. Let's dive deep into the tension, the heartbreak, the secrets, and the pressure campaign that could shake the very throne of Denmark. It all began in late 2022, when Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, the beloved monarch who ruled for over 50 years, made a decision that stunned her nation and fractured her family. In a terse royal statement, she announced that the children of her younger son, Prince Joachim, would no longer bear the titles of prince or princess. Instead, from January 1, 2023, they would be known simply as Counts and Countess of Montpezat, a noble title, but a far cry from royalty. The Queen said it was to allow them a life, free from royal obligations, a move supposedly meant to modernize the monarchy. But the timing, and the method, struck a raw nerve. No consultations, no advanced warning, not even a personal meeting. Prince Joachim and his children were informed via email. For Prince Nikolai and Prince Felix, both young men with their lives ahead of them, it felt like being erased from the family legacy. And to the Danish people, many of whom had watched them grow up in the spotlight, it felt like betrayal. The backlash was immediate. Prince Joachim went public, breaking decades of royal tradition by giving a heartfelt interview, visibly emotional, and revealing the hurt his children felt. He said they were confused, blindsided, and deeply saddened. The family unity was shattered. And though Queen Margrethe later apologized for the pain, the decision stood. Thus, the once proud Prince Nikolai and Prince Felix became mere counts, stripped of their princely identities, while the palace spun it as necessary reform. But now, almost 2 years later, Prince Joachim has returned with a warning. If Denmark wants its royal family back together, if King Frederik wants the next generation united, then those titles must be restored. When Queen Margrethe shocked the world by abdicating in January 2024, passing the crown to her eldest son, Frederik, many hoped it would signal a new era of peace and unity within the Danish royal family. But instead, the rift between the royal brothers has deepened. King Frederik X, now the monarch of Denmark, has yet to reverse the decision made by his mother. And according to sources close to Prince Joachim, he's furious. Why? Because for years, Joachim felt overshadowed. While Frederik enjoyed the spotlight, the titles, and the direct line to the throne, Joachim was sent abroad, first to France, then to Washington, D.C., and finally to Brussels, serving Denmark loyally but always at a distance. And now, his children are paying the price for that distance. This is personal, said one royal insider. Prince Joachim sees this as a power move. His sons were cut out to make the path smoother for Frederik's own children. Indeed, King Frederik's eldest son, Crown Prince Christian, has taken on more royal duties in recent months, and his younger sister, Princess Isabella, has become a rising star in Danish media. But with Count Nikolai and Count Felix removed from the picture, the focus is now solely on Frederik and Mary's children. And Joachim has had enough. Insiders say he's now demanding the titles be returned, and he's using the ultimate leverage. His return to Denmark. If the king wants the family reunited, If he wants to see Prince Joachim and his sons return home, then he must correct what Joachim calls a royal injustice. The question is, will Frederik give in? Of all the young royals affected by the title scandal, none captured the public's heart quite like Count Nikolai. Once Denmark's golden prince, tall, charismatic, and elegant, Nikolai was often compared to a young Prince William or even a Scandinavian version of JFK Jr. His foray into modeling, his gentle demeanor, and his ability to balance royalty with independence made him wildly popular, especially among young Danes. When the title was stripped, Nikolai remained dignified. But sources say he was devastated. He reportedly told friends he felt cut off, not just from his royal duties but from his own identity. All his life, he had been raised as a prince. His education, his expectations, even the way the public perceived him, was built around that role. To have it taken away, without warning, was a blow he's never fully recovered from. And now, with Joachim fighting to have that title restored, many Danes are asking a very real question: why shouldn't Nikolai and Felix be princes again? They were born into royalty. They never broke the law. They've never embarrassed the monarchy. If anything, they've been loyal, poised, and gracious. Is that not what a modern monarchy should stand for? While Nikolai often stands in the public spotlight, Count Felix has always been quieter, more reserved, but no less proud. The second son of Prince Joachim, Felix shares his brother's charm and good looks, but he's known for his low-key demeanor and preference for private life. Yet even he was caught in the fallout. Felix, too, was stripped of the title of prince, and just like Nikolai, he had no say in the matter. Imagine being born a royal, being told from the day you could walk that you were part of the monarchy, and then, suddenly, being told you are no longer a prince. It's a psychological blow, and it has left lasting scars. Close friends say Felix is fiercely loyal to his father, and he supports Joachim's demand for the titles to be restored. But more than anything, he just wants dignity and respect. He didn't ask to be royal. He didn't seek fame, but he also didn't deserve to be discarded like a chess piece. For Felix, this battle is about something far more important than titles. It's about fairness. And what of Queen Mary, the Australian-born consort who has become one of Denmark's most beloved royals? As the wife of King Frederik and mother to Crown Prince Christian and Princess Isabella, she has more to gain, or lose, from this family rift than almost anyone else. Some royal insiders suggest Mary has tried to act as a peacemaker, urging Frederik to open lines of communication with Joachim. Others say she is protective of her children's future, and sees restoring Joachim's sons' titles as a threat to Christian's uncontested path to the throne. In either case, Queen Mary is in a difficult position. She must balance loyalty to her husband and children with her sense of justice, and her desire to keep the royal family from fracturing in public view. And with every passing week, as the pressure grows and public sentiment starts to shift toward Joachim's side, Mary's influence may prove crucial in what happens next. For many years, Prince Joachim was seen as the spare, the second son, the quieter brother, but now, he's becoming a voice for justice, and the Danish people are starting to listen. Recent surveys show growing support for restoring the titles to Nikolai and Felix. Younger Danes in particular see the decision as outdated, cold, and unnecessary. Social media has become a battleground, with hashtags like #RestoreTheTitles and #Justice for Nikolai trending across platforms. Royal bloggers and constitutional experts alike have argued that no child should be punished for internal family politics. And with Denmark known for its progressive values, many are questioning why its royal family seems to be moving in the opposite direction. One Danish journalist put it best: you can modernize a monarchy without humiliating its members. Stripping titles doesn't make a family stronger. It makes them resentful. Behind the gilded gates of Amalienborg Palace, the royal residence at the heart of Copenhagen, a storm is brewing. What the public sees are polished appearances, state banquets, ribbon cuttings, balcony waves. But insiders say something very different is playing out behind closed doors, a calculated power game. According to multiple palace sources speaking on deep background, King Frederik X is being pulled in multiple directions. On one hand, he is deeply loyal to his mother, Queen Margrethe, and is wary of reversing one of the most controversial decisions of her reign. To publicly undo the title revocation would seem like an admission that her final act as queen was a mistake. But on the other hand, his younger brother Prince Joachim isn't letting go. Joachim, once quiet and diplomatic, has become more assertive. His allies describe him as strategic but emotional, a man who feels not just wounded, but betrayed. And now he's using his influence abroad and at home to rally support. He's reaching out to former staff, trusted journalists, even sympathetic figures inside the military and diplomatic corps. His message: if Denmark wants a united monarchy, if it wants the next generation of royals to return and serve the crown, they must be allowed to return as princes. And perhaps the most unsettling part, he's gaining traction. While the battle between Joachim and Frederik takes center stage, there's another royal figure caught in the eye of the storm: Crown Prince Christian. At just 19 years old, Christian is being groomed to one day inherit the Danish throne. Handsome, well-spoken, and increasingly active in royal events, he has been praised for his maturity and quiet confidence. But behind the praise lies enormous pressure. Christian has watched as his cousins, once his closest royal contemporaries, have been cast aside. He grew up with Nikolai and Felix, shared royal duties and family holidays. And now, they are merely counts, while he alone carries the full weight of the royal future. What message does that send? Royal watchers say Christian has expressed quiet discomfort about the situation. He may not have the authority to change royal titles, but his voice matters. If Christian were to publicly express support for restoring his cousin's titles, it would carry serious weight, and force King Frederik to reckon with the next generation's desire for unity. But for now, Christian remains silent, dignified, watchful, and that silence speaks volumes. So, here's the question everyone is asking: can King Frederik X restore the titles on his own? Or is Denmark's constitutional monarchy too rigid? The answer is complicated. Denmark's royal house is governed by both tradition and law. The reigning monarch does have the legal authority to confer or revoke titles within the royal family. However, since the monarchy is a constitutional institution, any controversial decision, especially one seen as reversing a public reform, must be carefully weighed against public sentiment and political optics. King Frederik would not technically need the Danish parliament's approval to restore the titles. But doing so without public support could cause backlash, particularly from those who saw the original move as a way to modernize and streamline the monarchy. According to constitutional expert Lars Hufbach Sorensen, if Frederik restores the titles without consensus, it could reignite the entire debate around the monarchy's relevance and fairness. He must tread carefully, but legal complications aside, the real issue is personal. It's about pride, family wounds, and a monarchy trying to find its place in the 21st century. While Joachim may be based abroad, he's far from alone in this battle. Sources say the prince has built a network of elite Danish supporters, some in royal circles, some in politics, and others in the media. These allies are quietly pushing his narrative, that stripping his sons of their titles was both unjust and unnecessary. Among them are former palace officials who served under Queen Margrethe and witnessed her abrupt decision-making, retired diplomats who worked with Joachim during his overseas postings, cultural leaders and artists who admire Nikolai's success as a model and believe he should never have been demoted. And most interesting of all, some high-ranking members of the Danish military have reportedly expressed support for Joachim, himself a trained officer and respected defense attaché. Joachim is building quiet power, said one observer. He's laying the groundwork not for a rebellion, but for a restoration. Weeks, Danish tabloids have reported the existence of private letters and messages exchanged between Prince Joachim and his brother King Frederik. While the palace has not confirmed these reports, royal insiders say Joachim has made direct written appeals to Frederik, urging him to reconsider the decision and allow his sons to reclaim their birthright. One alleged letter was described as deeply emotional, and included a plea for Frederik to see the situation as a father, not just a king. If true, these personal appeals reveal the depth of Joachim's pain, and his willingness to be vulnerable in order to protect his children. But so far, there's been no response. No apology, no reversal, not even a public acknowledgement. And that silence, according to royal observers, has become deafening. Across Denmark, opinions remain mixed, but shifting. When the titles were first removed, some applauded the decision. They saw it as a sign that the monarchy was modernizing, trimming excess, and focusing on the direct line of succession. But over time, as Joachim's pain became public and his son's dignity remained intact, public opinion began to shift. New polls suggest that over 60% of Danes now believe the titles should be returned. Among young people, that number rises to nearly 80%. Royal fans argue that Nikolai and Felix have done nothing wrong. They've represented Denmark with grace and have never brought scandal to the royal house. Instead of being punished, they should be embraced. The phrase now trending on social media, "Give them back." And now, it's come to this. Prince Joachim, no longer willing to negotiate behind the scenes, has issued a clear message to the king. If you want my sons to return to Denmark, if you want this family united, you must restore their titles. It's an ultimatum, one that puts the future of Denmark's royal house on a knife's edge. For King Frederik, it's not just about 2 titles. It's about setting precedent, preserving his mother's legacy, and avoiding political fallout. But for Prince Joachim, it's about family, identity, and protecting his sons from a decision he sees as cold and unjust. This may well be the defining royal conflict of the decade. And as the world watches, the question remains, will King Frederik act? Or will the Danish royal family become permanently divided, one brother on the throne, the other in exile? This is not just a family squabble. This is a slow-burning royal crisis, one that could define King Frederik's legacy. If he restores the titles, he brings peace, but risks appearing weak or inconsistent. If he refuses, he keeps the monarchy streamlined, but loses a vital part of the family, perhaps forever. And in the middle of it all are 2 young men, Nikolai and Felix, who never asked to be symbols but have become the face of royal injustice. Their fate, their titles, and their future now hang in the balance. So now we ask you, dear viewers, should King Frederik restore the prince titles to Nikolai and Felix? Or is the Danish monarchy better off moving forward without them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as we continue to bring you exclusive royal updates from around the world. Thanks for watching and please don't forget to subscribe.